Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're tired of that dry, repetitive, rote memorization we've all been forced to do, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to strategically conquer the 12 essential vocabulary words of Lesson 25 from the classic 504 Absolutely Essential Words Workbook. And we're going to do this through focused thematic learning, tying these words together in a way that actually makes sense to your brain.
Okay, here's the game plan for our journey today. First, creation and life events. Second, travel and heavy loads. Third, wealth, waste, and ruin. Fourth, crime and consequences. And we'll wrap it all up with a visual vocabulary quiz. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Creation and Life Events, Building Foundations. We're starting strong with words rooted in creation and some of life's most significant milestones.
Our first word is architect. Arch-a-tect. Now, the literal definition is a person who makes plans for buildings and other structures, someone like Frank Lloyd Wright, who famously blended his designs with nature. But what I really want you to notice is the secondary definition, a maker or a creator. This word gets used figuratively all the time. For example, the source text refers to General Eisenhower as the architect of victory over the Nazis in World War II. He obviously didn't build a physical structure. He planned a monumental outcome.
Now, here is a fascinating little spotlight fact straight from the workbook. When we say someone is the architect of a project, they are really just the visionary starting point. The architect is only the very first of many specialized workers needed before a building is actually completed. I mean, think about it. You need engineers, bulldozer operators, welders, carpenters, masons, plumbers, electricians, and glaziers. It really puts into perspective how an architect just provides the foundational plan. Or, as the book humorously notes, you could just hire a contractor who would then have all the headaches.
Let's look at our next foundational life event word, matrimony. Mat-re-mony. It represents the holy state of married life, or the ceremony of marriage itself. Our source text actually gives us a great, slightly cheeky example to help remember this one. It notes that some bachelors find it very difficult to give up their freedom for the blessings of matrimony. It's a very formal, weighty word for a massive life transition.
Section 2. Travel and heavy loads, moving forward. Let's see how our vocabulary builds into movement, travel, and the things we inevitably carry with us.
Our first word here is abroad. Abroad. Most commonly, we think of this in the literal sense of traveling outside one's country, like saying more people are going abroad for vacations. But pay close attention to that secondary definition, going around or spreading far and wide. You can literally have a rumor that is abroad in the school, or news of a president's illness spreading abroad. It's really about something crossing boundaries, whether that's a person crossing a border or information crossing through a community.
Which naturally brings us to what we carry when we travel. Baggage. The crucial point here is how this word shifts contexts. Literally, it just means the trunks and suitcases you check at the station, like a traveler unpacking only to realize they forgot their radio. But figuratively, it scales up to mean an entire army's equipment. As our source points out, a modern army simply cannot afford to be slowed up with heavy baggage. It's a perfect example of a simple word scaling up to describe massive logistical burdens.
Section 3. Wealth, waste, and ruin. A downward spiral. Let's shift gears to a slightly darker thematic chunk, a rapid-fire narrative of decline regarding wealth, misfortune, and the fallout that follows. It all starts when you squander or spend foolishly and waste your resources. You can squander your money by buying what you absolutely cannot use. Or, as a wealthy parent might warn in their will, their children might squander their inheritance. It's an active, careless loss of something highly valuable. And this brilliantly illustrates a vital concept. Spending foolishly isn't just about money. Consider Freddie here, who squandered his time watching television and could not catch up on his homework. He wasted a completely non-renewable resource, his time, and paid the price for it academically. Squandering your resources, or honestly just experiencing terrible luck, often leads directly to a calamity. A calamity is a great misfortune or serious trouble. Now, failing a single math test shouldn't be regarded as a calamity, but the text gives a much heavier example. The sudden death of a husband is a profound calamity that can leave a widow completely numb. It's a word reserved for significant, life-altering disasters.
And a severe economic calamity can completely change your status in society. Take, for instance, a catastrophic fire that destroys a man's factory. That single event can turn a once wealthy business owner into a pauper, which is a very poor person. It's a harsh word that signifies a total, devastating loss of financial standing.
But even paupers can bounce back.
The beautiful thing about learning this vocabulary in context is that it tells human stories. Take Max. Having been a pauper himself, he uses his lived experience to help the needy whenever he can. It shows that while pauper describes an economic state, it definitely doesn't have to be a permanent identity. Naturally, navigating these extremes of wealth, poverty, and status can breed our next word, envy. Envy is intense jealousy, or to feel jealous of someone else's success. Whether it's Marilyn being selected as prom queen and becoming the envy of every senior, or someone feeling foolish envy over Nora's incredible ice skating ability, it's that creeping feeling of wanting what someone else possesses. Section 4. Crime and consequences. Facing the law. All of these human struggles can sometimes push people over the edge into our final thematic bucket, the darker side of society involving crime, justice, and severe legal consequences.
When someone breaks the rules, they might become a fugitive, which simply means a runaway. Our source text provides some incredibly evocative examples of this, whether it's Tom escaping from prison to live an unhappy life always looking over his shoulder, or Paul acting as a fugitive by abandoning the slums and his friends. The fugitive is always running away from the law or running away from a life they can no longer bear.
And rounding out our 12 essential words for Lesson 25 are 3 powerful terms that perfectly cap off this theme: collapse, prosecute, and bigamy. These words are deeply intertwined with the ruin, the systemic failure, and the legal consequences we just explored. Whether it's a structure or a plan undergoing a total collapse, the state deciding to prosecute a fugitive, or someone committing the specific marital crime of bigamy, these words complete our vocabulary toolkit for today. Section 5. The Visual Vocabulary Quiz. Test your retention. We've covered the concepts, so now let's see if you can instantly apply what you've just learned.
Take a close look at this cartoon pulled straight from our source workbook at the end of Lesson 25. We see a man on the ground hoisting heavy, stacked suitcases up to another man waiting inside the open doorway of an airplane. I want you to think about it for a second. Based on the thematic chunks we just unpacked, creation, travel, ruin, and crime, which of our 12 essential words is the absolute best fit for this specific visual scenario?
If you guessed baggage because of the heavy suitcases, or perhaps abroad because they're loading an airplane for international travel, you are absolutely correct. You've successfully retained the core concepts of Lesson 25, connecting the visual directly to the vocabulary. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. You've just mastered 12 foundational words, not by staring blankly at a list, but by understanding the stories behind them. So, how will you act as the architect of your own vocabulary today? How will you use these essential words to build and articulate your own complex ideas without squandering the opportunity? Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you in the next explainer.